Hey AD, I'm Vanessa Hudgens. Welcome to my home. Come on in. So this is the Little DeMille. It was built by Cecil B. DeMille for his mistress. Therefore, this is the Little DeMille. Over here we have Cecil B. DeMille, the man himself, kind of clocked as like the Hollywood grandfather of cinema. So we have to have a moment here honoring him since he built this for his mistress. This is the living space. Got the piano, which doesn't really get used that often. This is all I remember from this part. Anyways. Wanted it to feel really French because the land is very French and vibey. There's olive trees everywhere. So I really wanted to play into that with the space. And I wanted it just to be really like casual and relaxed and cozy. I'm a big fan of candlesticks, so you will notice them everywhere. I just loved this mohair sofa that I found at a vintage shop. A lot of the pieces I found are vintage pieces, like little tavertine stacking tables. I got a vintage movie poster, which is Breathless, an amazing French film. I'm obsessed with this. It's this artist named Peter Tomka. He does these projection silver gelatin prints, and it's his friend from high school. She wrote a murder mystery play, and this was a shot that he got from it. I love it. I also really love vintage books. Finding old books all over the world is one of my favorite things to do. I found these little guys in Scotland at a little vintage bookstore along with these original prints of Emma. These are just like all French love stories. We have my one and only Natalie Wood. Fox actually gave this to me after I did Grease Live as a present. This I got because I was like, this would be so cool to have an old school clock that chimes. And then it started chiming, and every time it chimed, I would jump out of my skin and be like, that was a great idea. Practically terrifying, but you know, it looks cute. I love big plants. I think it's so important to just bring life into your home. As you can see, my Monstera is doing very well, and we just love big, big bouquets. My friend and designer extraordinaire, Chad Wood, helped me and styled this house and put together the most amazing bouquets and arrangements. Oh, and the floors. The floors were a big selling point for me when I saw this house. Gary Oldman lived here before me, and he put these in. They're 18th century French oak from an old chapel in Europe. So cool. When I bought the house, these doors were probably from the 50s. They did not open at all. So I had these made to just give it some air, which is so necessary in LA. My little breakfast nook that I'm very proud of. I got this wallpaper that I fell in love with from House of Hackney. There's like little mushrooms and dragons. I got this made after a restaurant that I'm obsessed with in New York called Maison Premiere. And it just feels like you're in New Orleans in the 20s. I eat here when it's like one or two of my other friends, but we normally just end up dancing around the table. Ends up being a great dance floor. And then we move into the kitchen. When I bought the house, this kitchen was very, very different. It was all white. There were red knobs on all the cabinetry. And during the pandemic, I was home so much. I was like, this would be the time to do a remodel for the kitchen. And so I took it upon myself to have a project and put it all together. I wanted the floors to feel kind of Italian, so we did the tavertine. I opened the shelving up, and this tile is actually leftover tile from the remodel of my bathroom, and it was sitting in the basement, and I was like, that would work perfectly. So put that here, made it just really earthy. There's a lot of plants, there's a lot of fruit. I have an abundance of citrus and avocados. I don't really cook that often. Once in a blue moon it happens, but I'm very proud of my Cali water fridge. We gotta stay stocked, keep everybody hydrated. I just love quirky, unique things about homes, and this is definitely one of them. I don't know if it's like from a boat or a submarine, but it's just so cool. And also to have a swinging door. Here we have our dining room. I wanted it to feel very romantic. I wanted the table to kind of play off of the pattern of the floors. Once again, like 1950s Italian chandelier. Just keep it really organic and kind of neutral, since this opens and flows into the olive trees. This is the powder room, which I just love so much. It has these tiles, which I feel like have probably been here since the 50s. But this wall was painted red, like bright red. So knowing that I wanted it very old school, old Hollywood, I found this wallpaper by House of Hackney. And I feel like it just gives it that old Hollywood vibe. Of course, since this is old Hollywood home, I had to have Richard Avedon portrait of Marilyn Monroe. I love this piece so much because we're all so used to Marilyn smiling brightly and just being the goddess that she is. But just seems like an in-between moment, like she's really lost in thought. And it just seems like a very vulnerable, personal image of her, which is what you kind of want to see when you're going to the bathroom, right? You feel safe. Since this is just like all white walls, I wanted to bring some big art pieces into this space. This is by an artist named Kader Bole. He was born in Africa and moved to Paris when he was like 20 to pursue his dream. His stuff's just so cool. This piece, my girlfriend, her husband is the artist. His name's Fernando Garcia, and I just thought this was so cool. It says Libre Pensador. It's kind of like a commentary on how society wants to keep us inside of the box, but it's our jobs to be outside thinkers, which we support and love. This is my bedroom. I wanted it to be very feminine, so I feel like, of course, there's going to be a lot of celebrating the woman form in my bedroom. I found this piece by an LA artist named Eliza Valenti. I just love the colors. I love how it's celebrating women's figures, and they're like full, vivacious bodies, and I just think it's so important to see that. For some reason, I just really fell in love with the idea of orange for my bedroom, so I got these velvet orange curtains. Once again, very important to have plants that you love on. I got this sofa that I love the shape of. I'm obsessed with this quilt. It's from Nikki Kehoe and it's reversible. And I just love that it adds texture to the space. These sconces I love. I got from this store in LA called Obsolete, and it just gives off like a really dope glow at night. These I had made, which I am just obsessed with. These legs that are thick and kind of have like an Art Deco-y feel to them. And this marble actually goes perfectly with the marble in my bathroom. We love when it all ties in together. This is my bathroom, one of my favorite places in the house. I worked with Jake Arnold to design the space, and I just really wanted it to be sexy and cave-like. This bathtub that I spend so much time in. More candlesticks, as you can see. Here's the marble that matches my bedside tables. And then these are also the tiles that I had so many extra of that I used as a backsplash in my kitchen. All the faucets I wanted to be brass, so naturally I went to Waterworks. And we did it with the wood on it because I just love things being really earthy and keeping it like grounded. This is where I shower, welcome the world in the morning. Wanted just a little desk moment for myself to be able to work on scripts at home on. This lamp I'm so obsessed with. It just makes it feel like a little fairyland. My closet, which we don't need to look in because it's kind of a disaster. Of course, everyone loves living in LA for the outdoor space, and this house does not disappoint. I got these wooden beams made to follow the curvature of the iron that was already here. Eventually, I'm hoping that my vines will grow in and cover all of this, but it's just really taking its time. This is like the side door. I just love how the ivy's growing up it. The ivy over this house is one of my favorite things ever, because when do you get a brick house in LA that's covered in ivy? It's very rare. The maintenance of this house it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. We have our pool, very necessary in LA. One of my friends found this chair at a vintage store. I'm obsessed, especially because it plays into the murals I had painted outside. So when I moved in, this was just a white wall, and I was like, that seems like such a wasted opportunity for something really cool to happen. So I found this artist, Carly Kuhn, who does the coolest single line portraits, and I'm just obsessed. It brings so much life to the place. She also did these. We call them the lovers. Just a little seating area underneath the olive trees. Plumerias are my favorite. My dad always had plumerias around. He would always give me plumeria plants. So this is like my prized possession. This is where I feel like most nights my friends and I all hang out. We turn on the fireplace and share ghost stories. Say hi, Dar. She gets camera shy. So this is the guest house. Originally was built as a carriage house, and now it's just our hangout room, TV room. As you can see, we have all of my Teen Choice Awards. They've been sitting in the garage for so long, and I finally was like, we should just put them out somewhere. So they have finally found a home. Bookshelf with more books that I have found from all over. I met like Kelly Slater when I was going to a bunch of like surf US Opens. So he gave me his book signed, which I love. I've got my Annie Leibovitz, which she signed for me when I worked with her. My friends and I are always taking photos. So we have like our vintage Polaroid just ready on hand. Got a bunch of really good stuff here. This piece I am so obsessed with because at a certain point of the day, the light comes in and hits it just right and it looks almost like a ghost. It's this artist, Kim Vitran. I saw it on their Instagram and I was like, that is amazing, I need it. And then they sent it over. My favorite part is the little portrait of Darla in the portrait. Kills me. We love a jam session, so there's always some form of instrument in all the rooms. And then we have even more land. This massive tree is an avocado tree, and it actually produces fruit. Not that often, but when it does, there's a lot of guacamole. This is a grapefruit tree, then we've got a lemon tree and a lime tree, and a kumquat and tangerine tree. So there's just a lot of fruit. I really wanted a place that you can just run around in and kind of feel like you have a park. We have water balloon fights out here. We do little photo shoots out here. Just run around, and it's so nice to have a space that's open in LA that just allows me and my friends to feel like big kids. I love this little arch entry we have into the secret garden, which doesn't really have that much in because I'm not in it all the time. We have our pizza oven, which actually has been used. The first time, not so successful. We have our big old fireplace and the biggest grapefruit tree, which lights up at night and just is so whimsical and romantic. This is another thing I love about the house. Gas lanterns. They're by this company, Bevelot, from New Orleans. They've been around since like the 40s. And I just love when you go to New Orleans, that vibe is kind of spooky. So these lanterns really did it for me. And that is my home. Thank you, AD, so much for coming and checking out my house. Now it's time for you to go and me to go into the bath. Bye.